All right, let's dive in. We're taking a deep dive into the 2024 U.S. election today. We've got a whole bunch of BBC News articles here, some serious, some a little more fun, and we're going to dig into them and see if we can't learn something interesting about this election.
Beyond just the headlines, right?
Exactly.
There's always more to the story.
Yeah, there's always something you don't see at first glance.
Definitely.
Well, one of the articles that really stood out to me was about Beyoncé showing up at a Kamala Harris rally in Houston, Texas. I mean, come on, Beyoncé.
Yeah, that's a big deal, especially in Texas.
Right. Texas, it's a traditionally Republican state, so to have someone like Beyoncé come out and support Harris there, it's
a power move for sure.
Yeah.
It's all about getting those undecided voters, maybe swaying some people.
Yeah, energizing the base too, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Getting people excited and ready to vote.
Especially in a tight race like this one.
Yeah, every vote counts.
Every single one.
The article, it even quotes Beyoncé. She was urging Americans to sing a new song.
Interesting.
What do you think she meant by that?
Well, it's a pretty open-ended message, right? It could be about change.
Yeah.
It could be about, unity.
Yeah.
Wanting something fresh.
A fresh start, maybe?
Exactly. And I think that resonates with a lot of voters these days.
For sure.
People are looking for something different,
Yeah. I think that's a theme we're seeing a lot this election.
Absolutely.
A desire for something new.
A new direction.
Yeah. And while Beyoncé was doing that, Donald Trump was actually also campaigning in Texas at the same time. Really emphasizes how important this state is,
Oh, yeah. Texas is a battleground state for sure. Both campaigns are fighting tooth and nail for it.
Okay, ready for this? Voting from space.
Wait, what?
I know, right? It's a thing. One of the articles talked about how American astronauts on the International Space Station.
You're kidding?
Nope, they can actually vote from space. Electronically, of course.
I mean, that's incredible.
I know, it's like something out of a movie.
Yeah.
But it's real, and it just shows you how important
voting is.
Yes, voting is. They've gone to these extraordinary lengths to make sure
Well, every citizen can vote.
no matter where they are.
Even if they're orbiting the Earth.
It makes you think, right?
Yeah.
Like, if they can vote from space,
Yeah.
then the rest of us, we really don't have any excuse.
It puts things in perspective.
Big time.
And, it also highlights the ongoing debates about voting rights and accessibility here on Earth.
Yeah.
Voter ID laws, mail-in voting, all of that. It's a hot topic.
It is. It's a constant back and forth.
It makes you wonder, we can figure out how to vote from space. But we're still struggling with some of these basic issues down here.
It's a little ironic, isn't it?
It really is.
But hey, at least we're trying, right?
I guess so.
And this space voting thing, it's just a great reminder. Every vote truly does matter.
It really does.
All right, now for something a little less upbeat. Fake news, AI-generated content.
Oh.
Yeah. There was an article about an AI-generated ad for Kamala Harris. It used a voice clone and even footage from a UK department store.
Wow, a department store.
Yeah, it's wild. And the scary part is, it was so convincing.
That's what worries me about these deepfakes. They can be so realistic, it's hard to tell what's real anymore.
And that's exactly what makes them so dangerous, right? They can manipulate people, spread misinformation.
And undermine trust in the whole electoral process.
Exactly. It's not just about manipulating voters either,
Yeah.
It's about planting those seeds of doubt, eroding trust in the media and institutions, the very sources we're supposed to rely on for information.
It's like a virus, spreading distrust and confusion.
Exactly.
And the antidote is, it's media literacy, fact-checking.
Being critical thinkers, right?
Exactly.
We can't just passively accept everything we see and hear, especially online.
We have to be more discerning, more skeptical.
Especially these days. It's like we need to develop a healthy skepticism.
Exactly. Question everything.
Question everything. Verify before you share. Do your research.
Be an active participant in the information landscape.
I like that.
Don't just be a passive consumer.
Be an active participant. I think that's a good place to take a break. We'll be right back with more from our deep dive into the 2024 U.S. election.
So, diving back into these articles, one that really caught my eye was about a farmer couple. They appeared in a Kamala Harris campaign ad, and they ended up being targeted by, basically false claims and even threats online.
Oh, wow. It's awful.
Yeah, it's really disturbing. And it just shows you how quickly misinformation can spread these days.
And how real the consequences can be. I mean, starting online and then...
That spills over into real life.
Exactly. It's scary.
And, it makes you think about the role of social media in all of this.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like, how much responsibility do these platforms have to prevent the spread of misinformation, to protect people from harassment?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's such a complex issue.
It really is.
No easy answers.
But we need to be talking about it, that's for sure.
Absolutely. We can't just ignore it. It's a direct challenge to our democracy, to how we communicate with each other.
It really is.
Okay, so maybe for a little lighter note,
Sure.
there were a couple articles about, I guess you could call it the quirky side of the election.
Yeah.
Like Donald Trump serving McDonald's fries at a campaign event.
Oh, I saw that. That was interesting.
Yeah, and Kamala Harris celebrating her birthday on the campaign trail.
I think those kinds of things, they might seem trivial,
Yeah.
but they actually give you a glimpse into how candidates are trying to connect with voters.
Yeah, on a more personal level, right?
Exactly. It's about showing their human side, trying to be relatable.
It's all part of the game, isn't it?
It is. It's all part of the show.
Campaign theater.
Exactly.
Trying to create those viral moments, grab people's attention.
In a world that's so saturated with information, you got to stand out somehow.
That's true. That's true. Speaking of grabbing attention, there was an article about campaign volunteers using air tags to track down stolen campaign signs.
Wait, really? Air tags?
Yeah, like the Apple trackers.
Wow, that's pretty clever. But also, kind of raises some privacy concerns.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's a bit of a gray area.
It is. It's a tough one.
On one hand, they're just trying to protect their property, make sure their message gets out there.
But on the other hand, do we really want to be tracking people like that?
Exactly. Where do we draw the line?
It's a debate we need to have, for sure.
Absolutely. Technology is changing the game so fast. We need to be having these conversations about the ethical implications.
Before it gets out of hand.
Exactly.
All right, so maybe we can shift gears a little, talk about some of the international perspectives on this election.
Sure, yeah, there were a few articles about that.
One was about how the election is being viewed from Mexico.
Oh, yeah, that was interesting.
It talked about the complex relationship between the two countries, the impact of U.S. policies on Mexico.
It's a good reminder that this election, it's not just an American event.
Definitely not. It has global implications.
Big time.
Economies, trade, political alliances. It all gets affected by what happens here.
What happens in the U.S. doesn't stay in the U.S.
That's for sure.
And understanding those ripple effects, that's crucial for everyone, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. We're all interconnected. What happens here impacts the whole world.
There was also an article about those recent hurricanes that hit Florida. The devastation was it was unbelievable.
I saw the pictures. It was heartbreaking.
In the article, it really highlighted the urgency of addressing climate change.
Yeah, it's not a distant threat anymore. It's happening right now. And the U.S., it has a huge role to play in addressing it.
Absolutely. This is something that goes beyond party lines.
It does. It's about the future of our planet.
The well-being of future generations.
We need to be demanding action from our leaders.
No more debates. Just action.
That's right.
So we've covered a lot of ground here, from the serious to the quirky, the local to the global.
It's a lot to take in.
It is, but it's fascinating, isn't it?
It really is.
It shows you just how complex and multifaceted this election is.
And how much is at stake?
Okay, so maybe we can shift gears a little bit now and focus on some of the more personal stories that are coming out of this election.
There's this one story about a woman who was rescued from her burning house. And it was all thanks to the quick thinking of these first responders. It's just a powerful reminder of the bravery of those who put their lives on the line to protect others.
It really is those everyday heroes,
Absolutely.
Amidst all the political noise, there are still people out there making a real difference.
It's inspiring, for sure.
And it's not just people. Sometimes there's our furry friends, too. There was this story about a pig that was tied to a gas station during the hurricane. And the poor thing had to be rescued from the rising floodwaters.
Oh, gosh, that's awful.
It is, but it also shows you how these natural disasters, they impact everyone.
Yeah, not just humans.
And how important it is to support each other,
Absolutely, especially during those times of crisis.
Speaking of, well, maybe not crisis, but something a little different. There's an article about the northern lights being visible across the U.S. and Canada.
Oh, wow, that's amazing.
Right. It's like a reminder of the beauty of our planet.
And the things that connect us, even across borders. Sometimes I think we forget about that,
We get so caught up in our differences.
That we forget about the things we share.
The things that unite us.
Like looking up at the sky and seeing something as beautiful as the northern lights.
And it's not just natural wonders either. There was an article about pandas from China arriving at the National Zoo in Washington, D.C.
Oh, yeah, the panda diplomacy.
Exactly.
That's always a good story.
It's a symbol of goodwill between the two countries.
And it's a reminder that diplomacy can take many forms.
Sometimes it comes with furry, black and white ambassadors.
Exactly.
Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground today, from the serious to the lighthearted, the political to the personal.
It's been a journey.
It has. And, I think what we've seen is that this election, it's more than just about policies and strategies. It's about people. It's about their stories. It's about the choices that shape their lives.
And ultimately, it's about the future we want to create together.
Exactly. And as we've seen, that future, it's being shaped by so many different factors, from the influence of celebrities to the power of technology, from the threat of climate change to the importance of community. It's complex, it's challenging, but it's also incredibly exciting.
It is, and it's a reminder that we all have a role to play in shaping that future.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the 2024 U.S. election, I hope you're walking away with a deeper understanding of what's happening beyond the headlines, and maybe even a renewed sense of how you can participate in this crucial election.
We've talked about so much today, but one question that keeps coming back to me is, with technology evolving so rapidly, how can we ensure fair and trustworthy elections in the future? It's a question we all need to be thinking about.
It is, and it's
Yeah.
not just a question for policymakers and tech experts. It's a question for all of us.
We all have a stake in this.
We do. So stay informed, stay engaged, and most importantly, make your voice heard. Your vote is your power. Use it wisely.